Welcome back, GED scholars and math warriors. Thank you for joining me in Algebra 104, Part 7. The case is closed, folks. For the algebra series, we had 101 all the way up to 104. And in Part 7, I'm going to just go through 9 different problems. And these problems stem from the different videos that we have in the algebra series. You need to make sure that you understand in your studying algebra questions because algebra questions make up around 55% of the GED math exam. And the math exam is around 46 questions. The other set of questions will be geometry questions, percents, ratios, questions like that. But 55% is going to be all on algebra. As I've mentioned in the other videos, please make sure you visit gedtalk.com/resources, where we have a bunch of free worksheets that you can download and practice the skills, folks, because it's one thing to learn how to find the slope of a line. It's another thing to put that skill to the test, no pun intended, and to actually make sure you know it and that you can repeat it when it comes to test date. So let's go ahead and get started, folks. The first problem reads, which of the following expressions is equal to 6 minus 4 times x plus 3? And then we see multiple choice options for us. So I'm going to rewrite the problem over here so I can work on it. X plus 3. So the first thing I notice that I can do is I can factor this 4 to the x and to the 3, which are in that parentheses. So let's go ahead and do that. So negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times positive 3 will give me negative 12. And I'm going to bring the 6 down. I notice that there are two like terms, the 6 and the 12, and I'm going to combine that. So 6 minus 12 is going to give me negative 6, and I bring the negative 4x down, and I get negative 4x minus 6. Which answer choice is that, folks? And we see that that is letter D. The next problem reads, 3 increased by the product of 4 and a number is equal to the same number decreased by 6. What is the number? So for this one, we need to go back and we're going to take a look at the different words and just make sure that you understand what those words mean. So in the beginning, it says 3 increased, which means that there's going to be some addition. So I'm going to do a plus sign above it. By the product. Product means two numbers are being multiplied. So I'm going to put an X right there. 4 and a number. When they say a number, but they don't tell you exactly what that number is, that's a variable. And so I'm going to use the variable. I'm just going to put a Y. You can use any letter from the alphabet as your variable. Is equal to the same number decreased. And so we know with decreased, we're going to subtract. So we have 3 increased, so I'm going to do plus, by the product of 4 and a number. So 4, and we're going to use y as our number, is equal to the same number, that's y, decreased by 6. So y minus 6. And now we need to solve for that variable, or we need to solve for y. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to bring this y over from the right. So I'm going to do minus y over here, and it'll cancel itself out. And I'll do minus y on the left. So 4 minus 1, because remember, when you see a variable, there's an invisible 1 next to it. So 4 minus 1, I'm going to get 3y. And then I know I need to bring this 3 over. So I'm going to subtract 3 on the left. I'm going to subtract 3 on the right. So negative 6 minus 3 is going to give me negative 9. Bring the equal sign down. So now I have 3y equals negative 9. So divide by 3 on the left, and then on the right, we're going to do the same thing. So y equals negative 9 divided by 3 is going to give me negative 3. And that's letter A, folks. The next problem reads, what is the equation of the line with the slope of negative 4 that passes through the point 1, 2? So we know that the point 1, 2 is the x is 1 and the y is 2. So x is 1, y equals 2. And so then we look at our multiple choice answers and we see that all of the setups are y equal equations. And we know that they give us the slope, so there's a specific formula we should be using. And when we go over to our trusted GED mathematics formula sheet and explanation, which folks remember, you're going to be given this to use on the exam. So please make sure that you download a copy and you really go through it and you have a good understanding of all of the information that's given to you for you to use on the exam, because you're not going to need to memorize formulas when they're giving them to you. So when we get to the bottom section in the algebra section, when we look at the first one, it's a slope of a line. Well, the problem gave us the slope, so we don't need this formula. But the one below it is the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line. And that's what it's asking us. It's saying, hey, which one of these is the equation of the line? And notice that the formula is set up in the y equals mx plus b setup. So this is the formula that we want to use. So going back to the problem, I need to go ahead and set up my formula. So we're using the formula y equals mx plus b. And let's go ahead and input the numbers that they gave us. So y we know is 2 equals m. M is the slope, and they told us the slope is -4. X is 1 plus b. B is the y-intercept. It's where that line intercepts the y-axis. So let's go ahead and on this right side, -4 times 1 is -4. Bring the b down, equals 2. So I'm going to bring the 4 over. So 2 plus 4 equals 6, which equals b. And you're not going to stop there, folks, because look at your answer choices. B equals 6 is not an answer choice. You need to go ahead and plug that back into the top formula, and we're going to do y equals slope. Slope is what? -4. X plus 6. And which one of our answer choices gives us this response? You got it. It's B, folks. The next problem reads, which value for x makes the inequality x is greater than 400 true? And then we have our answer choices. And folks, what's going on with these answer choices? Yep, you got it right. It's a whole bunch of answer choices raised to a certain power. And do not do this by hand. Go ahead and pull up your calculator and start tapping away, folks, and putting in the numbers. So A is 7 raised to the power of 3, enter, and you get 343. Okay, well, we need to find the answer where the number or the answer that pops up after you do the power is greater than 400. A is not greater than 400, so it's out the window. Let's do B. 4 raised to the power of 4 is 256. Nope, that's not it either. C. 3 raised to the power of 6 equals 729. Is 729 greater than 400? Absolutely. So guess what, folks? C is our answer. This problem reads, what is the y-intercept of the line with a slope of 2 that passes through the point 1, 2? So something that you want to definitely pay attention to is the fact that this says, what is the y-intercept of the line? And remember, folks, when you have your formula sheet in front of you, in the algebra section, the second formula that we see, y equals mx plus b, is what we're going to use to help us out again in this problem. So I know based on what they're sharing with me that m, my slope, equals 2. Point is at 1, 2, and that's my x, and this is my y. So now let's go ahead and input this information into the formula because they're asking what is the y-intercept. We're going to be looking for b. So I have 2 equals 2, x is 1, plus b. So 2 equals 2 times 1 is 2, plus b minus 2 on both sides, and I get 0 equals b. Do I have that as an answer? Yep, it is letter C, folks. The next problem reads, the sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers is 104. What is the largest number? Okay, so we know that sum means add, so we're going to put an addition sign up there. Consecutive means one after the other. And odd numbers are numbers like 1, 3, 5, 7. So we're looking for odd numbers that will equal 104. So I'm going to go ahead and do equals 104. And I know that I need 4 consecutive, so I'm going to draw 4 spots with addition signs in between them. And past that, they don't tell me anything. Yeah, we have our answer choices right here, but do we really want to start with a guess and check when we can just add different variables to get this. And if you're wondering what does she mean, let's go ahead and get started. So that first consecutive odd number, I'm going to say it's going to be represented by the letter X. I'm putting in a variable. Well, then the second number, the second consecutive odd number is going to be x plus what? If we go back up here where I have the example of odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, what's the difference between 1 and 3? How did I get to 3? Well, I added 2. So down here, I'm going to say x plus 2. So the third consecutive odd number, I know it's going to be x, but x plus what? It's not going to be x plus 2. Like, okay, well, from 3 to 5, we added 2. We're going to say, what's the difference between 1 and 5? How did I get from x, which we're saying is 1, to that 5? Well, I added 4. So I'm going to do x plus 4. And for that last consecutive number, I have x plus, and what do we have? If we're using the numbers up here as the example, how did I get from 1 to 7? What did I do? I added 6. So I'm going to do plus 6 right over there. So now when I look on the left side, I see a lot of x's and I see just whole numbers. So I have like terms. I'm going to start off with the x's. How many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4x plus 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12 equals 104. I need to get x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 12 over here to cancel it out. And then I'm going to subtract 12 on the right. And 104 minus 12 is 92. And if you need to pull up the calculator, folks, please make sure you use your calculator. There's no problem with that. Remember, it's a tool. You're allowed to use it. So go ahead and use that tool. So I have 4x equals 92. So the next step is to divide by 4 on the left and then divide by 4 on the right. So I have x equals, and what's 92 divided by 4? We get 23. And if you're like, yep, I got the answer, it's 23, it's letter A. No, slow down. X equals 23. The question is asking, what is the largest number? So if I know X equals 23, that's the first one. What's the next consecutive odd number after 23? It's 25, and then 27, and then 29. And so the largest consecutive number is not 23, it's 29. And that's answer D. The next problem reads, Connie is 6 times as old as Rudy. In 6 years, Connie will be only 3 times as old as Rudy. How old is Rudy now? So I know that these answer choices are potential ages for Rudy. So they're telling me that right now, so I'm going to do now, Connie, which we're going to say is C, Connie's age is 6 times as old as Rudy. So 6 times R would give us Connie's age. In the future, we have in 6 years, so we're going to do future over here. Connie will only be 3 times as old as Rudy. So Connie's age plus 6 years will be only 3 times Rudy's age. We're going to have to add 6 to Rudy's age because we're in the future column. And if I added 6 over here to Connie's age, I need to add 6 over here in the right to Rudy's age. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the answer choices, and wherever I see R, I'm going to substitute it with the answer choice we're testing out. So let's go ahead and start with A. So I have 3. So if 6 times 3 is going to equal Connie's age, 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, well, in the future, 18 plus 6, so in the future, Connie will be 24, and that looks like we're dividing. So let me rewrite that, folks. We have 24 equals 3, and then what's Rudy's age for this one? 3 plus 6. Well, 3 plus 6 is going to give me 9. Is 24 3 times 9? No, because 9 times 3 is 27. So we know that this is not the correct answer, so A out the window. B is 4. So we're going to say 6 times 4, and 6 times 4 is going to give me 24. And so if Connie is 24 now, in 6 years, she will be 30. And she has to be 3 times as old as Rudy. So we'll just put the 3 there. But we would do 4 plus 6, and this is equal to 10. So Rudy in 6 years would be 10. And it's saying that in 6 years, Connie is only going to be 3 times as old as Rudy. Well, is 30 3 times as old as 10? It is, folks. So we know that B is our answer. So we have another inequality, but we know how to attack these types of problems. So let's go ahead and get into this one. What is the solution set of the inequality negative 7x minus 4 is greater than or equal to x minus 28? And then we have obviously the multiple choice answers for us. So let's go ahead and tackle this. So I have negative 7x minus 4 is greater than or equal to x minus 28. So I know that I want to get x by itself and I want x to be on the left. So I'm going to add 4 over here so it cancels it out, and I'll add 4 over on the right hand side too. So negative 28 plus 4 is going to give me negative 24. And then I'm going to go ahead and subtract the x from the right and bring it over to the left. So negative 7x minus 1 is going to give me negative 8x. Going to bring down the inequality. I haven't done anything to it yet. And if you're like, what do you mean you haven't done anything to it yet? Well, you're about to see, because remember how it started off, right? Whatever was on the left was greater than or equal to whatever was on the right. But right now, folks, I'm about to divide by a negative number on both sides because I want to get x by itself. And so I get x over here on the left. But because I divided by a negative number, I have to flip the inequality. So now it's not x is greater than or equal to, it's x is less than or equal to, and negative 24 divided by negative 8 is going to give me positive 3. So which one of your answer choices matches the answer we just got? Yep, you're right. It's letter A. Good job, folks. Let's tackle this last problem, folks. It reads, in a recent election, Javier got 5,512 more votes than 1/3 of the other candidates' votes. Together, they both received 18,072 votes. How many people voted for Javier? So we obviously need to find out what Javier got, because all of these answer choices that we see right down here are going to be for Javier, and we're going to use X for Javier. Let's go ahead and based on the information we have, we know that we need to set up equations to help us find out how many Javier has. However, what we do see is we're given a lot of information about not just what Javier got as far as votes, but in comparison to the other candidate. So we know that we're also going to introduce the variable for the other candidate as well. So for example, we're told in this first line that Javier got 5,512 more votes than 1/3 of the other candidates. And I'm going to use C as the other candidate. We also know that together they got 18,072 votes, but 18,072 votes minus the candidates will also give us the number of votes Javier got. So as you can see, we have these two different formulas that can tell us how much Javier is getting as far as the votes, but it's in relation to the other candidate. We don't know what X is yet. We don't know what the C is yet. However, we do know there are two different formulas that we can use to help us, and we just need to make sure that they equal one another. So this is what I mean. I'm going to bring down this first formula that we wrote, the 5,1200 plus 1/3 of the other candidate. That's going to be the number of votes Javier got. And it better be equal to the total number of votes minus the other candidate. That should also be Javier's number. So both should be equal. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to figure out, well, how many votes did the candidate get? Because you see, notice it's the C. That's the variable we're going to be looking for. And then we're going to subtract that amount from the total to help us figure out the answer for this problem. So let's go ahead and start getting our variable C by itself. I'm going to bring this C from the right over to this other side on the left. It'll cancel itself out on the right, and on the left, 1/3 C plus 1C is going to give us 4/3. And if you're like, how did you get 4/3? You might have gotten 1 and 1/3. 1 and 1/3 is equal to 4/3. 4/3 is an improper fraction, and we need this fraction to be in that format in order to get C by itself. So, and it'll make your life easier, folks. If you struggle with improper fractions, you definitely want to make sure you watch videos, you study it in any study guide that you have, and figure out how you get to that. But I'm going to share with you right now. So if you were like, I got 1 and 1/3, to get to an improper fraction, we're going to do 3, the denominator, times 1, and that's going to give me 3. Plus the 1, that's the numerator, and that'll give me 4. So that's how I got 4/3. Getting back to the problem. So I have 4 over 3c, and now I'm going to subtract this 5,512 from the left so it cancels itself out. And I'm going to do the same thing on the right. So then let's go ahead and pull up our calculator and let's type in 18,072 minus 5,512 and said enter. I got 12,560. So let's write that down. Bring our equal sign down. So now I have 4 over 3 times C, which is the other candidate, equals 12,560. And I'm going to do the inverse, which is 3 over 4 on the left, and this will cancel that out. So now we're left with C equals, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to multiply by 3 over 4. So once again, let's get our calculator. So I already have the answer up there. So I'm just going to start typing then. I'm going to say multiplied, and look, the calculator picked up that I wanted to multiply by the last answer that I have in my calculator. So times, and I'm going to either open a parentheses and do 3 times 4, or 3 divided by 4, like this, 3 divided by 4, and then close the parentheses. Or I can go ahead and I'm going to go back and delete this really quickly. If you're like, no, I would rather use the actual fraction form, perfectly fine, folks. Go ahead and click on your fraction button, and then you're going to enter 3, use the down arrow to get to the denominator, 4, then you're going to do right arrow to get out of that fraction, and then I'm going to hit enter, and I get 9,420. And if you're like, oh, that's it, that's the answer. No, it's not, folks. And take a look at the answer choices. That's not even one of the answers. But best believe that on the GED exam, they would actually have 9,420 as an answer. I didn't do that because there's no point in trying to trick you. I'm trying to teach you. And I shouldn't say trick. It's not a trick. The testing people just want to make sure you're paying attention. So the reason I say that is because this is the amount the other candidate got. We need to figure out how much did Javier get. So go back up to the total, which was the 18,072, and subtract the 9,420 from that. And go ahead, bring up your calculator, folks. I'm going to do 18,072 votes minus, and now I'm going to click second button, and then I'm going to say pull up my answer. And that is going to be the bottom row button that's to the left of the enter button. If you look above the negative button, you notice it says ANS, that's answer. And I'm going to hit enter, 8,652. So let me move this over really quickly. So 8652, is that an answer? Yep, folks, there it is, letter C. That's going to be our answer. Thanks for watching Algebra 104 Part 7, folks, and working through those different problems that we saw throughout the algebra series, especially the Algebra 104 series. If you haven't already, please make sure you visit gedtalk.com/resources to download free worksheets with answers to help you with the skills that you've been learning. Know what you're doing, folks? Keep your head up. You've got this.